3 years ago, I couldn't escape the fear that something terrible was about to happen to me. Every day, I woke up with intense dread. I was convinced that I was either going to die or I was completely going to lose my mind. It was consuming my life. Even on my 26th birthday, in a beautiful cottage, surrounded by loved ones, I couldn't enjoy moments the way I should have. This persistent anxiety was consuming my life. But what I discovered about it wasn't something doctors or therapists had ever told me. Hi, I'm Addie, and on this channel, I share practices that have completely transformed my life. My hope is that they can add value to your life and help you along your own journey. For years, anxiety was my constant companion. I tried so much to avoid this feeling. The anxiety even manifested physically. My joints ached, my toes, my fingers, they hurt. And I also became gluten intolerant. My nervous system was constantly so tense that both my mind and body was starting to suffer. Today, I'm going to share with you the 4 counterintuitive shifts that finally freed me from anxiety's grip when conventional methods failed. This isn't about managing symptoms. This is about decoding the message that anxiety has been desperately trying to deliver to you. My only goal for years was trying to make anxiety disappear. I would do anything to escape that feeling. My all-time favorite thing to do to distract me from this feeling was to watch animations. For a few moments, I would get temporary relief from the dread and anxiety I was feeling. But this wasn't something that I could keep doing. This was me masking the feeling. I even tried to bypass the feeling itself and start doing positive affirmations. And this doesn't work. This is like putting a band-aid on a wound and completely ignoring it. This is a psychological truth I discovered. What you resist persists. Let me share a pivotal moment with you. One night, I was laying in bed, convinced something terrible was about to happen. My mind was cycling through the worst case scenarios. What if I lose control? What if I'm dying and I don't know it? I even went to the extent of dialing 000 and putting my phone right next to me, just in case I was about to faint or pass out. I would call for help straight away. That's to the extent I was feeling this dread. It's funny now, but in the moment, this was nothing from funny. And if you experience anxiety and real anxiety, you know that this is not a joke. This is something that feels like the worst feeling ever. I laid there, my phone next to me, thinking, what if I'm dying and I don't know it? What if I got crazy? My joints were aching, my fingers and toes hurt. My body was rejecting food. But then something completely unexpected happened. In complete exhaustion, I surrendered. I said, fuck it. Fuck it to all the conspiracy theories in my mind. To the fear of going crazy, I just let go. For the first time, I got curious instead of terrified. I asked myself, what if this isn't trying to destroy me? What if this is trying to tell me something? That shift from resistance to surrender changed everything. So next time anxiety appears, don't run. Place your hand on your chest and ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to tell me? What message might this feeling have for me? Anxiety is not random chaos. It's your soul's alarm system. Think of it this way. When your phone's battery gets low, you get a notification. When your car needs oil, a dashboard light appears. When your soul is misaligned, anxiety surfaces. At first, the signal is gentle, but when ignored, it amplifies until you cannot ignore it anymore. In my case, I was living in complete disconnection to my true self. This was post 2020. I worked a job that was misaligned with my values and my purpose. I was holding onto old beliefs that kept me in lack and living in fear. And I had a fundamental lack of trust in myself and my ability to make decisions. Anxiety wasn't the problem. It was the messenger pointing to these real issues that I had. I have always been blessed with wonderful people around me, but even that support could not override the internal misalignment I was experiencing. Now, your turn. Ask yourself these 3 questions. Firstly, what in my life feels off or out of alignment? 2, what old beliefs do I have that is keeping me in fear? Thirdly, in what ways am I not trusting myself? Anxiety holds the clue to what is actually wrong. Don't silence it. Decode it. Do you remember being scared of monsters under your bed or the shadow against the door while you laid in bed? Then someone turned on the lights and showed you that there was nothing there. That's exactly what happens when you stop running from anxiety. I was always so terrified that if I felt this anxiety fully, I was going to completely lose it and go crazy. But when I actually turned towards it instead of away, I discovered that the monster was just a shadow on the wall. Here is what anxiety actually is. It's a wave of energy moving through your body. It cannot hurt you when you stop being afraid of the feeling. The real suffering comes from when you fight the sensation. Second one is adding fear on top of fear. And the third one is creating more stories about what might happen and giving this imagination so much energy. Try this powerful technique next time anxiety rises. The 90-second technique. Try to locate where anxiety lives in your body. For me, it was always in my hands and my fingers. Once you've located where you're feeling the anxiety, place your hand there. Breathe deeply into that space and count to 90 while you stay with that sensation. Neuroscience actually shows that emotion chemicals actually flush through your body in 90 seconds if you do not resist them and actually feel them. I've used these techniques hundreds of times and I promise it does pass. And with each wave you face, anxiety loses its power over you. The final insight that changed everything for me is learning that anxiety is an energy that's supposed to move through you and not get stuck in your body. Emotions literally mean energy in motion. Think of your emotions like energy in a river. When you block the flow, pressure builds and eventually it bursts. Through anxiety, through fear, to whichever emotion that comes out. I started focusing on things in my life that I could control instead of the things that I had no control over, and there was no point of worrying and being anxious of them. The things I had control over were my daily practices, my relationships with my own thoughts, the food that I ate, and how I moved my body. I was no longer a victim to my anxiety. I was empowered to change my relationship with it. The most powerful shift came through gratitude for me. Every morning before work, I started making gratitude videos on my phone. Just me talking about what I was grateful for. And something miraculous happened. My internal state will completely transform after doing this gratitude practice. When I shifted my focus from fear to gratitude, my nervous system could finally relax. And eventually, even my physical symptoms, my joint pain, and even my gluten intolerance completely went away. What emotions are you afraid to feel? What's stored in your body that's ready to move through? When we allow those emotions to naturally flow, anxiety often dissolves naturally because it no longer needs your attention. Here are the practical tools that help me integrate these shifts. Firstly, I've talked about is I did gratitude videos every morning. The second thing is movement. So I incorporated yoga into my life. Movement helps tension and emotions move through the body. The third thing, I focused on eating better and treating my body with kindness. The fourth thing that I did was the anxiety dialogue practice, which is when anxiety appears, I take 3 deep breaths. I place my hand on where I feel this feeling most. And then I ask, what does this feeling need me to know? And then I listen without judgment. And the fifth and final practice I use is the focus shift technique, which is when fear arose, I would shift my attention to things that I could actually control in that moment. And also, I will place my attention to someone else. These weren't quick fixes, but they created lasting transformation. Today, I'm completely free from the physical pain that plagued me. No more joint pain, no more food sensitivities, all because my nervous system is not constantly stuck on fight or flight. Now, looking back, I'm actually grateful for my anxiety. It woke me up to the life that I was not meant to live, and it guided me towards the one I was. Now, do I still have fear? Do I still experience anxiety? Of course I do. But now I feel it. I listen to its message, and I let it move through me. I focus on love instead of fear, on gratitude instead of worry, on what I can control instead of what I can't. If you're struggling right now, please know this. You are not broken. You are receiving a message. Try just one insight from this video this week. Maybe start with gratitude. It's simple and incredibly powerful. Record yourself talking about what you're grateful for every morning for just 1 week. Then come back and let me know what shifted for you in the comments. I read every single one, and your story might help someone else. If this resonated with you, please hit the subscribe button for emotional healing and living a soul-aligned life. Remember, what you are avoiding might be holding the wisdom your soul has been trying to deliver.